So let's look at the preview. So we have discussed about the equilibrium p-n junction concept. All of you know about the quasi-Fermi levels also. Then we also found out that forward bias reduces the potential barrier. It reduces the or shrinks the depletion width, and reverse bias does the opposite for both of them. So this slide basically summarizes both the forward bias and reverse bias. So this is your p-n junction, and when you apply a forward bias, this built-in potential. This built-in potential under equilibrium reduces by applied voltage. In reverse bias, built-in potential increases by, or the potential barrier increases by applied voltage. Now, if you notice here, this Fermi level and the electron Fermi level, we have two regions here, right? This is called depletion region, and this is called neutral region or quasi-neutral region. So here there is some fixed charges are there. So it's overall, charges are there. So this side will be positive charge, this side will be negative charge due to fixed ions. And these are more or less neutral. Like quasi-Fermi level, we have this concept of quasi-neutral level also. In case of reverse bias, now depletion width is extended. So your Fermi level is extending here, and these electron and holes have separate Fermi level. Now notice one more thing here. This is p-type Fermi level here, so its full p concentration is there. But if you go through this depletion region, your whole concentration decreases, right? What about electron concentration? Here electron concentration is full n-type concentration, but if you move from here, then you see the gap here. This gap is small, this gap is large, right? So electron concentration decreases here. So this is the transition region where electron concentration decrease and the whole concentration decrease. But their product is not Ni square. Their product will be the related to the exponential of the difference of these two Fermi level. You can write, let's say, inside this depletion region, right? You want to write n and p expression, right? So n expression for n will have this Fermi level, expression for p will have this Fermi level, right? So when you take the product, it will be the difference of these two Fermi level. So in forward bias, this will be basically increased. In reverse bias, it will be decreased. Now, if you look at the depletion width, so you can see the charge versus x. So this black line is the for equilibrium. This red line is for reverse bias. Depletion width extended, and the inner line represent the forward bias. Similarly, what are the electric field? For equilibrium, the electric field is E. So for reverse bias, electric field will increase, and for forward bias, electric field will decrease. The potential also, the black line is for equilibrium case, and then red line is for reverse bias, and this smaller voltage will appear for forward bias, right? So this is basically summary. Then built-in potential, of course, kT by q log Na Nd by Ni square, and W, the depletion width is 2 times epsilon V VBI minus V applied. V applied is positive for forward bias, negative for reverse bias, times Na Nd by Na plus Nd by q Na Nd, and power half. Somebody want to say something?
Sir, can you go back to the previous slide and explain again those plots?
No, what do you want to know?
This plot, that black line, red line, how we are getting like that?
No, can you say again?
Those plots, can you explain again, sir? Like
No, which
this
plot?
second one.
No, second one means the charge concentration, the electric field, the potential.
Electric field part.
Electric field, this one. So if you see here this black line, right? This is for equilibrium, right? So this is the basically this field is linear, right? Because charge is constant. So if you recall, del dot d is equal to rho. So you can write d by dx is equal to rho. So your d will be rho dx, right? Now rho is constant. So your electric field will be linear, right? So it's linearly increasing. At the metallurgical junction, opposite charge appears. So overall charge enclosed is decreasing, right? So it linearly decreases. Now this charge density is same, whether it is forward bias or reverse bias. So that means the total charge enclosed will increase for reverse bias and decrease for forward bias. So that means total charge enclosed will tell you the maximum electric field. So maximum electric field will increase for reverse bias and decrease for forward bias. I'm talking in terms of the magnitude. Now this again the sign is negative here because we have Pn. If you make it Np, then this will be actually it will become positive. But the magnitude of the field will decrease for wider depletion width, that is reverse bias. Magnitude of maximum electric field will decrease for forward bias or narrower depletion width. Correct? Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
So for non-degenerate semiconductors, we have already discussed this concept of current equation as a gradient of Fermi level, right? So this is basically EFN or sometimes written as just FN, right? Quasi Fermi level, right? Or just FP. So this we have already discussed. So current can also be expressed as just mu n times del EF or del FN by del X. Now this is only true for non-degenerate, because these expressions are not valid for degenerate semiconductors. For that you have to use the Dirac delta integration directly. Dirac function, Dirac integrals. Okay. Now when we want to discuss ideal PN junction, so what will happen when we combine these two PN junction together? So we have got an overview, right? Now let us try to get a quantitative picture. Can we derive the equation for IV curve, right? So let us begin with a ideal PN junction. So in ideal PN junction, of course, we are making some assumptions, which later on we will see if those assumptions are valid or not. If they are not valid, what will happen? Those we will see later. First, let us start with a ideal PN junction diode. So in ideal PN junction diode, first of all, we assume it's a abrupt depletion region. So it's just basically, as we have discussed, it's abrupt, right? So there is no slope here, right? And second, of course, these semiconductors are non-degenerate, right? So we can always write N is Ni exponential EF minus EI by KT. Those equations we can write. Then low level injection. Low level injection means from this is P type, right? P type. This is N type. So number of holes that are diffusing from P to N is much less than the electron concentration here or the majority carrier. Similarly, number of electron diffusing from the N side is much less than the hole concentration on P side or the majority carrier concentration. That is low level injection. Then of course we also assume in the depletion region there is no generation recombination current. So there is no generation recombination. That is to say, because this depletion region is having concentration of electrons or holes very small. So naturally, if you compare this Np minus Ni square, right? If Np product is less than Ni square, there will be net generation, right? So for ideal PN junction, we are assuming that this Np product is always Ni square. So there is no net generation or recombination in the depletion region, right? So it is possible then when you reverse bias it, the carrier concentration become less than Ni square. so there will be net generation. In case of forward bias, lot of carriers are injected, so it is possible that NP product may be more than Ni square, right? So there will be net recombination, right? So for ideal p junction, we are ignoring the contribution from generation recombination. And then of course we will do this analysis for a 1D case only. Under steady state, what will happen? So let us write the equation and look at, understand it carefully. You don't have to write it, just understand. You can recall the continuity equation, right? Electron continuity equation and the hole continuity equation, right? So in steady state, number of electron and number of hole, they are not going to change as a function of time. They can change as a function of position, right? But not as a function of time. So at a given position, electron or hole concentration will remain same. So dN by dt or dP by dt is 0. And of course, this is basically generation minus recombination. So this is net recombination basically. dN by dt is generation minus recombination, right? So it's minus u means net recombination. So now let us write this equation only for the n side. Only for n side, right? So if you recall, the equation is n times E plus diffusion coefficient times dN by dx. So n side electron concentration and hole concentration on n side, right? So this n side we are writing as a subscript, right? So electron become Nn, hole become Pn. So that means this is the electron concentration on n side. This is the hole concentration on p side. So when you substitute Jn and Jp in respective equation, so first equation, if you substitute Jn, what will you get? 1 by q dj by dx, right? So d by dx will be d by dx, dn by dx, and d2n by dx square, right? So your three terms, d by dx, dn by dx, and d2n by dx square. Similarly for hole, you have d by dx, dp by dx, and d2p by dx square, right? So these things, and of course plus generation minus recombination. Now when you use these two equations, right? So what we will do, there are two regions, right? On n side and on p side, right? This is a metallurgical junction, this is the depletion region, and this is quasi neutral region. So of course let us write this equation in quasi neutral. Now in quasi neutral, it's a neutral region, so that means here this is n type, so holes are injected here, right? So hole concentration will change by delta Pn, right? So it will Pn minus Pn naught. So delta Pn is Pn, which are basically injected, minus the background concentration, right? Or a minority carrier concentration. Now if it is to be neutral, then delta Pn has to be same as delta Nn. Correct. So it is not that only electron hole concentration is increasing on n side. It is actually the electron concentration is also increasing on n side to maintain the charge neutrality. So, but if you see the change in concentration for electron relative to the majority carrier concentration, in hole concentration is related to the minority carrier concentration. So of course the relative magnitude of this change in hole concentration will be quite large, right? All the difference is same, right? But if you see, let's say your doping is 10 raised to power 17, right? And the hole concentration in background will 10 raised to 3, right? Now you have injecting 10 raised to power 12, right? So you see It's a large difference. Now you add 10 to 12 to 10 to 17. Is there any difference? Right? Hardly any difference, right? Is still 10 to 17. So that's what we are discussing. So you can write to maintain the charge neutrality. The delta n and delta p are equal, right? Therefore, their gradients are also dnn by dx and dpn by dx, right? Are also equal. Now, what we do from these two equation and 1 and 2, let us remove this d by dx term, right? So we can eliminate the d by dx term if we multiply first equation by mu p times pn and the second equation by mu n times nn, and we add, right? So when we add it, we actually get this expression. Looks complicated, but we will basically make certain um, we will use certain cases, certain special cases. For example, low level injection, right? This complicated equation will reduce to a simpler equation, right? Similar equation you can write for p side also. So here, if you're in doubt, this is basically just u only. This is u only. Now this is nn minus pn divided by nn by mu p plus pn by mu n e times dp by dx plus d alpha is another n. Should we actually pn? I don't know. It's p subscript n. I changed it, but I don't know why it again reverted back. It's p subscript n divided by nn by dp plus pn by dn, right? Now at low level injection, pn is much less than nn, right? So pn is much less than nn, then you will have only have nn by mu p, right? Times e here. For d alpha, again nn by dp, right? So you just have dp here. And in quasi neutral region, of course, electric field is almost zero. So you can remove this term. You just have this diffusion equation. And this we have already solved, right? You can recall when we discussed injection of carrier in a bar, right? And we wanted to find out how the the profile look like. So this is same equation, right? d2p by dx square is equal to delta p by, now this d tau is basically L square, right? The diffusion length. So it become, if delta n is here, or delta p is here, it will be delta p by E at length L, diffusion length. Correct? So of course, you don't have to go through this derivation. This is just to show you that there's a formal procedure, but you can also directly write. But when you directly write it, you may not be clear, how we are getting it, right? So this is just to show you how you can get the equation, and but we can directly write also this thing for quasi neutral region. Now, in case of depletion region, your continuity equation again is dn by dt is dg by dx plus net generation, right? Now at steady state, of course, your dn by dt will be 0, and in depletion region, we are assuming combination, right? So this is also 0. So your dj by dx is basically 0, right? That means your current is constant. Okay, this is basically we are assumed there is no generation recombination, so this is basically 0, right? So dj by dx or djp by dx are 0. That means in the depletion region, hole that is entering here, electron that is entering here is not recombining, or neither extra electron and hole are appearing here, right? So whichever electron is going through it is passing to the other side. Whichever hole is entering from p side is passing to n side. So none of them are recombining, and there is a neither product generation of electron hole pair, right? So that some extra electron or hole will appear here, right? So that means the current which is entering here, electron current, is same as the electron current that is leaving. Similarly, the hole current that is entering is same as the hole current that is leaving, right? That means these Fermi levels are basically They're not changing. They are constant throughout the depletion region. So only the upper band is changing, right? So with that, the carrier concentration is changing, right? So if you write NP product, especially at the boundaries, what will be this thing? NP will be Ni square exponential EFN minus EFP, right? Or Fn minus Fp by Kt. So when in reverse bias, this term will be a large negative, right? So this will almost be 0, right? In forward bias, this will be large, right? So it will be some Ni square exponential V applied by Kt, because the difference is QV, right? So QV applied by Kt. So for forward bias, you can write, even for reverse bias, you can write Ni square exponential QV by Kt. So forward bias, this V is positive. For reverse bias, this V is negative, right? So let us look at the overall picture. So now you see here, this is P site, this is N site. So holes are diffused here and they are basically reducing, right? Now here only the drift current is there, right? And then diffusion current is due to the concentration gradient, which will be here, right? Now here if you see the slope of these carriers, it is very large. So the current will also be very large here, right? And it will mostly be due to the diffusion. But as you move away from the junction, the myotic carrier concentration is reducing, right? So myotic carrier concentration after few diffusion length, it reduces. It becomes almost same as the background concentration. So now here it will be again the drift current. Now you may ask that this drift current has to be some electric field should be there, right? So then we cannot say that all the applied field is actually falling across the depletion region, right? So but if you notice, the majority concentration is quite large. Carrier concentration is quite large, right? So for the same current, it will require a very small voltage, right? So that means the field that is dropping, field that is here, it will be required, but it will be very small, right? So this assumption is kind of acceptable. So we can say that most of the applied voltage falls across the depletion region, and then the total current has to be constant because there is no charge accumulation anywhere in this region. So that means if diffusion current decreases, then drift current has to increase. And then if you know the expression for diffusion current, which is minus q dp d by delta p by dx, sometimes we wrote like this delta p by dx, right, which is a function of position. So and then your electron current will become total current minus jp, right? Now if you want to know the total current, then what will happen? You calculate the diffusion current due to holes at this point or at xn, and you calculate the diffusion current due to electrons at xp, right? And if you add them, this will be the total current, because the drift current in this region is negligible. So you understand, diffusion current is maximum here and drift current is negligible here. Here is totally the drift current. Diffusion current is negligible here. So it's a drift, diffusion, and drift. And so if you combine or add the two diffusion currents at the two ends of the depletion region, you will get total current. So you can recall the magnetic carrier diffusion equation, right? It is same equation, right? See here. You obtained here, right? It's same equation. So if you remove the field here, negligible, then this is d2 py d square is a delta p by tau, right? So of course your diffusion length can be defined as root of d tau, where d is the diffusion coefficient, tau is the magnetic carrier lifetime. So your whole concentration is given by delta p, times exponential minus xyl, right? Of course, it is starting at xn, so you are writing x minus xn. So at xn is basically starting point. Then Pn is basically, if you recall, Np is Ni square exponential QV by KT, right? So Pn can be written as Pn naught exponential QV by KT. So delta Pn is Pn naught exponential QV by KT minus 1. And then if you calculate the diffusion current, it will be the derivative of this thing. So you will have this expression, right? Pn naught exponential QV by KT minus 1. Similar you can do for P side. P side you have diffusion length, which is d times tau, diffusion coefficient for electron, and the magnetic carrier lifetime for electron, and delta Np will again we have some expression. Now you notice here the injected carriers on n side is Np naught exponential QV by KT. So if the magnetic carriers on n side is large, right? Then does it mean that injected carriers only depend on this NP naught? It looks little counterintuitive, but if you recall, it is actually the majority carriers in the on the N side, which will go to P side, right? So if this side doping is more, then you will have more number of carriers getting diffuse here, right? So, but when we basically, if you write this NP is Ni square, right? So let me recall the expression here, right? It is N type, so N is of course will be Nn only. P is of course Pn, and which is their product is Nn Pn is equal to Ni square exponential QV by KT, right? So Nn is of course here. Now Ni square by Nn is basically minority carrier concentration, right? Or equilibrium minority carrier concentration. So that's how you can write this injected carrier as minority carrier concentration times exponential QV by KT. So with that we get the expression for two currents, and the total current will be the addition of these two diffusion current. So you remember here this current is related to the diffusion coefficient times the magnetic carrier concentration divided by the diffusion length. So the current will be, if you want to increase the current, what you have to do? Of course, diffusion coefficient you cannot change. The L is d tau, right? Square root of d tau. So if you can want to reduce the L, now what will happen if you reduce the L? See, if you reduce the L, what will happen? The slope will increase, right? Right. So the slope will be much higher here. So current will be much higher here, right? So if you reduce this length, diffusion length, you will have more amount of current, right? So you can reduce this by reducing the carrier lifetime. Then another one is, of course, the Pn naught and exponential QV by KT. Now Pn naught is basically a little interesting, right? So that means if you want to increase the current, this Pn naught should increase, right? How will you increase the Pn naught? You will decrease the doping on this side, right? But if you decrease the doping on one side, right, other factors will come into the picture. But if you consider a one-sided junction, right? If you consider one-sided junction, right? In that case, you can see this effect very carefully. For one-sided junction, if you increase the magnetic carrier concentration of the other side, the current will increase, right? So that means you have to decrease the doping of the other side in case of one-sided PN junction. We will see now. Okay, so this is a total current. When you add the two currents, Q dP N naught by LP, dN N naught by Ln, exponential QV by KT. Now, because Pn naught is Ni square by Nd or Nn. Similarly, Np naught is Ni square by Na, and L is root d tau. So you can write L square is d tau. So you can write L by d is tau by L, right? Or L by tau is d by L, whatever you want to write. So this can be simplified as Q dP by LP become Q dP Ni square by L times Nd. So d by L will become L by tau, right? So those things also you can change if you like. So this is basically ideal diode equation, Shockley equation. So far, any doubt? So let's discuss this. I will do later. Okay. Okay. I will return it. Okay. Let me discuss here only. Let's consider junction, right? In that case, what will happen? The holes injected from P side will be much larger, right? And electron injected from N side will be smaller, right? Because it is P plus doped. Now, such kind of junction are common when we are using counter doping, right? Let's say there's already N type substrate, right? If you make it P type, of course, you will use high concentration, right? Let's say counter dope, this doping is 10 to the 15, right? And you make it 10 to the power 19, right? So this will become PN junction, P plus N junction. So number of holes that are injected from P plus will be much larger. So now out of these two components, which will be higher? Now Na is much high. So this you can say, is much small. So this will dominate, right? Because Na is, let's say this is 10 to the power 19 and Nd is 10 to the power 15, right? So you can ignore this current because rest of the things are almost similar. So the current will depend on the injected carrier to N side, right? Or the holes that are injected to the N side. Now, if you want to increase this current, what you have to do? If you increase this doping, this current will reduce. So if you want to double the current, you have to decrease the doping on the N side. So either you double the doping on P side, but that is not necessary. You can half the doping on N side and get the current doubled, right? So I think with this I will close this lecture, and in tomorrow's class we will discuss another approach called charge control methodology, and we will also consider non-ideal effects. So if you have any question, you can ask. Okay, any doubt? Should I stop recording?